I'm here because we have a number of cases that have been unsolved in this nation's history that were committed solely because someone decided to take the life of someone else who was black, and they had no regard for their lives. They had no regard for the fact that they might have been the parents of someone, no regard for the fact that they were advancing or working, to bring, equality, equal opportunity, for their children, for all children. And to the extent that we have not solved those offenses, that remains a blight on this nation's history. And it's not finished until we're able to bring some resolution to the family members and to the entire society about who committed these acts. That's why I'm here.
What does it take to solve 40, 50-year-old murder cases?
It takes a lot of persistence. It means looking in places where people may not have looked before. It means looking over things that people said that they had looked at before. We're looking at documents, for instance, FBI files. I mean, there were investigations in some instances, state investigations, sometimes federal investigations. We have had the experience of looking over those files thoroughly. I mean, every page, not skipping through anything, we and our students. And we have found, information or names or some kind of circumstance, some sort of fact that we thought might be significant. And we've presented that to law enforcement. And they've said to us, "Where did you find that?" And we said, "In your materials." So what it indicates is that in a lot of cases, the review was very cursory. And so what the cases warrant, particularly older ones, is a very thorough, meticulous review. And that is what we are trying to do. So we don't have any problem giving information to law enforcement. I mean, we don't have subpoena power, for instance. So at some point, we run up against this wall because that's where the law enforcement agencies who have the authority to do this have to take over. But we will do everything we can up to the point where we can't do any more, and we give that to people and say, now take it because you can do the next thing with it. And so it takes a lot of dogged determination, appealing to the public. What did you see? What did you know? Letting people know that they can speak in confidence to folks. But looking in places, creatively looking in places. We look at old news clippings. We look in some of the file boxes in some of the old courthouses, where nobody's looked at those things for 40 years. When we've been doing some of our research in the clerk's offices and say, some of the towns in Mississippi or Louisiana, and the clerks just say to us, well, just go down there. We don't know what's there. And we do that. We go. Dust off the boxes and then see what is there, because nobody apparently has cared to do that. We'll do it. So if they open the door for us to do it, we'll do it and let people know what can be done, what can be found, and make sure that they know that there is no closure until they have done that kind of work.
I understand that you take the time, you research, you find information, little nuggets and pebbles, and you said that there's a finite amount of action you can take once you find that, no subpoena power, that it's up to law enforcement. Do you find that law enforcement in certain cases is unresponsive or still doesn't care?
I don't know if you heard from any of the earlier panelists, but over this weekend, one of the recurring themes, refrains that we've been hearing from people is that our family never heard from anyone. We haven't heard from anyone. If they have, they might say, until the last few years, and that is when there has been this push by people like our project and some others who are doing similar work have begun to try to make sure that these organizations do what they're supposed to do. So it's up to them. It's up to them to explain and to rectify why they haven't done things up to this point. So sometimes the reception we get with law enforcement is open, sometimes it's reticent, and sometimes it's not welcome at all. But we don't work for law enforcement, we work for the families. And to the extent that the families say, we want your help and do what you can for us, that's where we take our orders.